got a monstrous London derby to look forward to this weekend. Myself, Jesse Nagel, and Joshua Gaillard are back to discuss all the action this weekend from Stamford Bridge. Josh, it's quite an interesting tie. It's the Blues of London against the Lily Whites of London as well. It's a derby, as I've mentioned. So much to expect from this tie.
I mean, I hope the listeners do want to listen to us as two Arsenal fans previewing a Tottenham and Chelsea.
This could go so well.
Could go perfectly. Yeah, I mean, we saw last weekend both the teams off to a winning start, 3 points in the bag. Spurs, in terms of result, looks a lot more convincing. They shook off the early jitters. I mean, Southampton came at them, got a goal first before them. But it is the start of the season. Yeah. The teams are bound to have a slip up in them. But I am excited for this one. Chelsea also look quality. Sterling making his mark in the team so far. Great dribbling ability. For me, just a quick one. I think Tottenham do struggle with a dribbling forward. Yeah. And Sterling might give them a bit of a hassle.
Just a quick one. Just on paper, forget the scorelines and the results. Chelsea away to Everton, Tottenham at home to Southampton. They both collected 3 points, but which one stands out more for you in the long run?
In the long run, I think Chelsea's result stands out more for me. I mean,
because Everton will pick up their home form, that Goodison crowd.
Yeah, I mean, Everton, they also have Lampard at the moment. They're looking a bit more coached, in my opinion, with him at the helm. So Chelsea getting that result at Goodison, even though it was a penalty, to grind out a result like that, considering that they've had a pre-season that's been a bit rocky, been a bit shaky, not in terms of results, but in terms of yes. Oh, he did pull off an excellent double save in the fixture. I mean, when Chelsea are absorbing a bit of pressure, Mendy does get the job done. Not so much with distribution, I mean, but the saves, shot stopping, quality. I think Chelsea's performance on all, grinding out a result like that, considering the pre-season, was great.
A solid 8 out of 10 then.
7.5.
You mentioned Sterling could pose quite the threat to the Tottenham backline. Let's look at Tottenham and their attacking quality that they have. That front three is going to cause many teams problems this season. Son, Kane, Kulusevski, of course, Richarlison to come in off the bench as well. He, of course, missed the last game through suspension. But Tottenham do have the tools to hurt Chelsea. How will they deal with it? We saw Koulibaly coming off with cramp, so possibly not used to the Premier League. This is going to be his toughest fixture yet. Thiago Silva just doesn't age at all. And then, of course, there's question marks around his Piliqueta's future. Will he stay? Will he be there by the time the weekend kicks off? We don't know. So, plenty of questions. How will Tottenham threaten them?
Look, I think one key thing you mentioned was Koulibaly struggling with fitness. Yes, he does have another week to get prepared. And I think Tuchel will show him where to push and where not to push. He will have him quite perfectly coached, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But Kane and Son, look, those two, we know them in the Premier League. They're going to force errors out of defenders, and the pressure is on for him. He realized that he's not up to match fitness. Koulibaly is as strong as he is as an individual and a player, I really rate him. But as he's realized, the Premier League is a step up. He's going to have to push harder, but the window of opportunity for him to get to that position is not there yet. Yeah. So I think that will be the weakness that they have to expose.
I think this fixture came too soon for Koulibaly.
I think definitely too soon for him. It's a tough fixture to be the second fixture of the season. Mm-hmm. I think that's where Kane and Son have to push in that regard. And down the right-hand side, Kulusevski has been excellent. Mm-hmm. He will have a challenge with Cucurella. That's going to be a good battle to look out for if Cucurella does start.
But you say he should start.
But he should start. So we'll see how that one plays out. If Kulusevski, can get the better of him.
Just two Arsenal fans butchering names.
I mean, come on. Does get the better of him on one or two occasions. Kane and Son do put those goals in. I think that's where Tottenham can attack Chelsea.
One more factor we haven't mentioned is, of course, the Antonio Conte factor. Of course, had a successful time at Chelsea. In fact, everywhere he's been has been successful. You can see the project at Tottenham now, upward trajectory. Thoughts on him going back to Stamford Bridge? How will that affect the game?
Look, I don't think it affects him too much. I think he has a way that he wants to play, and we've seen it last week. I mean, I think I saw a stats of Tottenham scoring 13 goals in their last 5 games, Premier League games rather. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be goals, yeah. I think Conte, even though he does set up with a defensive structure, he's always pushing forward and looking for a goal. And it is early enough in the season for that to happen. I don't think the crowd affects him too much there. I think he gets his boys on par with what his mindset is for this fixture.
Yeah, you've mentioned Raheem Sterling, Mason Mount's Chelsea through and through, so you'll know all about this fixture. Kai Havertz loves a goal in a big game as well. So Tottenham's backline, for me personally, before I ask you the question, for me, they don't really... doesn't sit well with me. I don't think it's as strong as the other teams. I think Christian Romero's an elite defender, but it's just him. I don't think he scored last weekend, but I don't think he's Tottenham quality. There's Davinson Sanchez, there's Lenglet who hasn't come in yet. It just doesn't... I feel like there's opportunities there for strikers, and I think Sterling, Mount and Havertz could exploit that. What do you think?
Definitely. I think Sterling's dribbling ability, like I mentioned earlier in the fixture, Tottenham do struggle with that. Romero can come in and make those crunching challenges, make him a bit more apprehensive. But Sterling is used to that. Playing at Man City, there were always players who were coming out and trying to impose themselves on the front line. But he's used to taking those challenges. I think the one thing for Tottenham on the left, on their side, is Conte has a decision now to make between Perisic and for Sessegnon. Sessegnon, obviously in name, you think Perisic is definitely the one. Match fitness, not there. Yes, but Sessegnon was quality last week, so there was a bit of a headache there. So defensively on that side of the field, I think they do have it somewhat covered. But down the middle, Romero has to really bring those boys up to his level.
Last question before we get into prediction. Midfield battles, key. We've touched on both the attacks and how they'll match against the defenders, but midfield battles should be key. Bentancur and Højbjerg bossed the midfield against Southampton. Conte and Jorginho barely put a foot wrong. Of course, Champions League winners as well. So there is quite the intriguing battle that could unfold on Sunday.
Definitely, but it's this early in the season. So there are those errors across the board. A lot of people put Kane in over Haaland for their Fantasy Premier League. And we saw what happened with Kane, he blanked. So from front to middle to back, there are errors or things that the players aren't up to scratch with at the moment. And for me, I think Tottenham are ahead of Chelsea in the sense that they've had a better preseason altogether. So that does give them a bit of an opportunity at the bridge. But if I'm going to predictions,
tell me who wins the midfield battle first.
Midfield battle first. You can't discount Chelsea in the midfield battle, especially with the likes of Conte, the likes of Jorginho, like you just mentioned. They work so well together. And I feel that if it's just in that area of the park that we're looking at, Chelsea get that one.
I mean, you couldn't wait for it. I can't wait for it. Time for predictions. Chelsea did win this fixture 4 times last season. That's a double-double.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's daily bread right there. But this weekend's a totally different ball game. Chelsea, as you mentioned, some defenders not really ready for it. Strikers haven't really hit the ground running. Tottenham have question marks in their, key areas of the pitch as well. So Sunday, who claims 3 points, or will it be a share of the spoils?
I think for me, there's goals in this game. 1-1 or 2-2. That is my prediction. A draw. I'm backing a draw in this one. 1-1 or 2-2. I think that both teams have a similar setup in the way that in a formation, and they might cancel each other, basically, and they might cancel each other out. But Tottenham have a goal in them. Chelsea definitely have a goal in them. They, like you mentioned, some of the forwards that they have. If you do want to pick a side, not sit on the fence like me, I think I go with Chelsea. Yes, 125 or 5-4, I think it is at the moment. I think you can get on Chelsea, but I'm backing the draw this one. Yeah,
same. Yeah, it's so hard to split them, especially this early in the season. Tottenham, that scoreline suggested they were brilliant, but I think they were anything but that. But Chelsea, 1-0 victory at Goodison Park. I think in the long run, now it doesn't look, like the greatest results on the planet, but I feel like that in the long run, they'll count those 3 points as 4 eventually. So it's going to be an interesting battle. But yeah, that is the thoughts of myself, Jason Nagel, as well as Joshua Gaillard, 2 Arsenal supporters, hoping for the absolute worst in this fixture. Josh, until next week.
Cheers.
For more soccer betting tips and previews, get the latest copy of Soccer Betting News for only 10 Rand at your nearest Hollywood Bets branch or news agent.